I had the interest to be involved and to form friendships in Romania during the communist period, and so this was, if you like, my extreme sport. That when other people were bungee jumping, I was visiting Romania. But that was something that was born in my heart because I knew of people very well, because their stories and their experiences were very well reported in Britain in the 70s and the 80s. That I really wanted to visit Romania and, if possible, to meet them, and that opportunity did arise. So I discovered that Romania had a history that I wasn't aware of, artistic achievements that I wasn't aware of in painting, in sculpture, in music, in poetry, and that these were names that were resonant in Central Eastern Europe and had a huge impact on people's lives for centuries, if not for millennia. And yet this was a part of the European history that I didn't know anything about. So at one level I was forming relationships that have affected my worldview completely for the last let's say the last 40 years. But what I'm also aware of is that there were always enterprising people, and that although initiative was crushed and not really encouraged for many years here, there were some things that were waiting to be brought back to life, to be resurrected. And so, although it's 20 years since the transition started and communism collapsed and Romania has been going in a different direction and has become a valued participant in NATO, in the European community. Of course there are problems, but to some extent those problems were inevitable. This is a turbulent transition, and the turbulence of that transition has not been helped by global events that have thrown well-laid plans in the air, not least to do with organised crime, international terrorism, and now the collapse of the global system of banking, which started with the tsunami of the collapse of Lehman Brothers in America. So I think the test that's been placed on Romania now is not the greatest test that's been placed on it, and there have been 20 years to prepare expertise, to build up young leaders, and to know very well what the direction of Romania is in these days of crisis. But I'm very confident that not only are there extraordinary business opportunities in Romania, but that the path that Romania has been treading so far now is being well established, and that will lead to profitable enterprises and the building up of young entrepreneurs that will take initiatives that will make full use of the opportunities that they have. And although there's a crisis, I think also there's a huge opportunity now, because the transition that Romania experienced 20 years ago seems to be happening in North Africa and the Middle East, and so Romania is geographically one of the best placed countries to take advantage of that. Regarding the things that drive me in Romania, as I've said, I've had the privilege of knowing people and being friendly with people now who are high achievers in Romania, and at times they were very poor because they were not necessarily able to acquire financial wealth, but they were extremely rich in all sorts of other areas as well. One of my great friends is a sculptor, and I know that there were times when he didn't have enough to buy food for his family. I think this area of social development is of huge importance, and whereas Mr. Badea has extraordinary capacity in his commercial and his political involvement, I think the other thing that drives us is this intention to make a mark on the world that will outlive us. And although this is a wealthy establishment and it has plans to be extremely successful and to build up wealth, one of the driving forces of that is that we only take out of this world the things that we've given away. Building up wealth just for the sake of wealth is not enough, and I know that that's not enough for Ioan Badea. It's certainly not enough for me. And so sometimes it's better to fail fighting for a cause that will eventually succeed than to succeed fighting for causes that will ultimately fail. One of the areas where business in America and Britain has quite often been phenomenal is in its philanthropy. Its capacity to see a way of solving problems that even government doesn't solve, and that a part of us needs to be our heart being motivated to use wealth and to use our time in a way that can make changes in society and make a difference in the world. And I know that that's the passion that drives this company to be very successful, to be a model of business activity and integrity, but ultimately that the benefits should not just be for that company, but that actually it becomes strong enough and confident enough to make changes that will leave its fingerprints in the world. And I think that's the thing that ultimately will mark out the development of the middle class, if you like, in Romania. That it's not simply a matter of acquiring things. It's not just the distance that we travel. It's about the direction that we take.